let's play around with the subject of schizophrenia for a moment. I just finished those 4 videos on a coiled spring, border polar kind of craziness the medical community likes to impose. And I caught myself while I'm self-analyzing in a little loop. I'm like, alright, I just admitted on those videos, I got this figured out. I know what's wrong with me, I know the medication, and I know the legal loopholes to obtain them. I'm just poor and disabled, which is crazy. I'm poor and disabled because I was abused as a child. The pill I need treats the abuse, the symptoms of being abused as a child. But in order to obtain and achieve that, I need to have the capabilities like I was never abused as a child. Now you see what I'm talking about. The medication treats the child abuse, but because I was abused as a child, I'll never be able to afford the treatment. Now you starting to understand what I say when I say addiction therapy can kill you. If your problem isn't addiction, but coping with your brain being damaged from child abuse, you're fucked. But you got bought. Your mother, biological birth giver, sold you to our government for slave labor. I was bought out of that by Gary and Paula during adoption. They could have kept me as a foster child and gotten compensation, monetary compensation for raising me. But that's not their motives. That's not their goal. Their goal wasn't to keep me in the system. The exact opposite. It was to get me out of that system. Get me away from Linda. Get me away from those demonic doctors. And it worked, by the way. That's what the amazing thing is. Dr. Pan, go kill yourself. Never come back. You come back, I call the police. Okay, so I really don't want to die. I'm just feeling suicidal. Where do I go? I don't care. Get out of my office and never come back. I mean, and that's almost exactly like looking through my eyes and ears, his reaction. And this is a doctor, a neurologist. Not even supposed to be, you know what I'm saying? Not even supposed to be dazzling in psychiatry, or psychology apparently. But one of the first things he did when I started mentioning the troubles I was having with all these anticonvulsants on my mentality, how did he fix it? Just guess. Antidepressants. SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. And then I'm like, wait a minute, it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks for me to even notice that I'm not depressed anymore? I don't stay depressed that long. Then I was like, I'll take a few of them to see if it does anything, and it didn't. Well, you guys down for 6 to 8 weeks. I'm like, I'm not going to live 6 to 8 weeks like this. Motherfucker, you don't understand. I'm not going to live this long if this is really what my problem is. No, it wasn't. It was the toxicity from all the medications, the severe abusive treatment by the doctor, the medical community, and the police. And I mean severe abusive treatment. That's really what it was, and as far as I can see in this country, and even planet, always will be. Well, I got my Second Amendment right. And you can have a gun when you pull it from a cold dead finger, so to speak. Not necessarily literally, but maybe. So, like I said, I caught myself saying, you know, I know what's wrong with me. I know what the medication to treat it is. Then I realized, but wait a minute, if I know all this, then why am I continuing to break down and tear apart bipolar disorder and borderline personality disorder, and now this new term I've come up with or came across on the internet about a week ago, borderline and bipolar. And you see what I'm getting at? It's all emotional regulation disorder. But the way the DSM-5 isn't like emotional regulation disorder, then you've got, you know, borderline, or we'll call that. See, that's what I'm saying. Borderline and bipolar don't fit, because bipolar sounds too quick and rapid cycling for what it actually describes. Emotional regulation disorder is actually more specifically defining the rapid cycling back and forth, but that actually sounds more like what bipolar actually is, like a couple of weeks here, a couple of weeks there, and a little bit in between. See what I'm saying? That doesn't seem as bipolar. That seems more like a regulation of emotion, a disorder. Bipolar sounds rapid cycling. You see my point for wanting to rewrite the book, and almost from the ground up when it comes to non-schizophrenic, non-psychotic problems. And see, they've got these axis 1, axis 2, axis 3. I don't know them off the top of my head, because when I went through them, it didn't work. The math, the mechanics don't work. They really don't. You could pretend, make stuff up in between, I guess, but I'm not good at that. It really doesn't add up. It's invaluable to getting, particularly people like me, the ability to go in the right direction and separate this out, figure it out for themselves within reason. But I'm going to be honest with you, DSM-5 actually didn't really do much for me at all, except as a reciprocal fact checker. It was actually like psychologists that are online kind of doing what I'm doing, but on their, you know, doctorate professional level, and I'm trying to do it more in a retarded sense. So when I started, but anyway, I caught myself like, okay, if I know what's wrong and I know the medication to fix it, why do I keep breaking down bipolar and borderline? You know what I'm saying? Why do I still keep double checking into schizophrenia and everything? And I'm thinking, okay, is that obsession and compulsions as a disorder? Very likely, but not necessarily. Is that an anxiety? Absolutely, that's what causes OCD. As far as everything that mechanically adds up works right now. So what I'm trying to get at is, can you have OCD without ADHD? Maybe. Can you have ADHD or my short-term memory's gone, but my working memory's good. ADHD and anyway. Obsessive compulsive, that was it, OCD. ADD and OCD, can you have those without an anxiety disorder? I'm going to say no. Absolutely not. Both of those are symptoms or subcategories of generalized anxiety disorder. Now, socialized anxiety disorder and generalized anxiety disorder the same thing or separate? We'll work on that. But anyway, why do I keep fact checking if I already know what pill to take and how to fix it? I'm worried I could be dipping into schizophrenia. Remember that whole thing of keep trying the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, expecting a different result at some point? That's one of the obvious characteristics of schizophrenia. And I'm like, is that what I'm doing? Do I have this all figured out? And I keep on searching and keep on searching and keep on searching, hoping that there is another way to correctly treat my seizures with minimum side effects and risk. Is there another way? I was worried about that. And I'm thinking, if I know what I know, and I know that I know it, and I'm confident in it, then at this point, there is no other way, so why do I keep searching for another way? Part of me is like, well, I'm not necessarily obsessed with finding another way. If I find another way, excellent. The world will be a better place. I don't believe I'm going to find another way, and that's what separates me from schizophrenia. I can accept the fact that there might be, but I don't believe there is, because so far reality and fact equal that. So then I'm like, well, if I got that solved, which the fact that I'm questioning it might mean I don't have that solved, or I'm just lack of confidence. And that's what those doctors do. Those doctors will toss a horrible fucking, here, take this little, 20 question test, and now I'm going to analyze you as schizophrenic. Then I look up schizophrenia and I'm like, oh my god, my world's over. I don't even know what reality is anymore. That's where I think that lack of confidence with this subject comes in. Because back then, before, again, I even knew what a psychiatrist and the subject of psychology even existed, these guys were like to be worshipped because they could figure out what's wrong with me. They could give me the legal access to the medications to fix what's wrong with me. Too bad they're demonic like the government for the most part. So now, let's say it's not schizophrenia. I'm not obsessed with trying to find another way, because I am convinced that there is no other way to be found as it sits. It's curiosity, and it's not killing this cat. It's curiosity, it really is. And not to mention, it's education. It's increasing my confidence the more I go into it, because then I'm ready from anything, from any direction, from any doctor. And that's one of the, like I said, that's one of the reasons why the last couple of visits to the mental hospital and dealing with psychiatrists has been like, get your stuff, get out of here. I can't give you the medication, outpatient, but I know you need it and why. And you don't need to be here because you got a lawsuit on your hands if you stay. Get out. But you know how pleasant that makes how much easier it makes crazy shit like that? 10 times easier, because I feel like I've got power, control, and like I'm a man that has my own plan. And I think that makes a big difference in life. So you might want to fact check your doctor. You might even want to see another doctor. Or, well, I'd say contact me. But this is I'm not here to give individualized advice professionally to anybody isn't personally involved in my life in a positive way. But I'm out to help everybody overall, so that's what these videos are about. The best way to get any kind of personalized advice would be to comment, and I do my best to try to catch the comments right away, And if I don't, and you really, really, really need to talk to me real bad, try emailing me. So, let's go get that coffee and get on to another video. Didn't stop. Stop, Alabama!